Hi, I'm doing this video in response to one that I saw from Samantha of Happily a Housewife. Happily a Housewife is a YouTube channel that I watch fairly regularly, and she recently did a video on being proud of where she's from. Samantha is from PA, which is where I'm from. She's from the western part of the state. She said a few hours outside of Pittsburgh, and she currently lives in Virginia. I am from Eastern PA. I was born and raised, grew up, lived 25 years in Philadelphia, and I currently live in a suburb just a few minutes outside of the city. And she did a video on the specific regionalisms for PA. Somebody had commented on her video and said that she talked weird because she eliminates to be, which is totally a Western PA thing. So instead of saying this bed needs to be made, she'll say this bed needs made. Or instead of saying the dog needs to be walked, the dog needs walked, or the car needs washed, or the dinner needs cooked, that sort of thing. The people from Western PA eliminate to be completely. I don't know why. I don't know how that came about. To me, living where I do, it does sound odd, but I'm used to hearing it from people who have migrated out of Western PA. As for me, I come from Philadelphia, and we are known for having quite an interesting accent. I think that ours is one of the more interesting accents in the country. I say that because that's where I'm from. But I've been told that we just talk very, very weird, and I'm proud of that. I think accents are amazing. It's one of those things that I'm obsessed with. You can ask anybody that talks to me. I'm always very interested in the way they say things and why they pronounce things a certain way and how different it is from the way that I say them. And I love my Philly accent. Till the day I die, I will say water instead of water. I will always say water because I can't even say the other word. But I love hearing about how people speak differently and say different things and have these different phrases, because of where they're from. It's so interesting to me. So Samantha had found this website, onlyinyourstate.com, and she found a list on there about being from Pennsylvania. It's called 20 Things Only People in Pennsylvania Know to Be True. And this is currently going around Facebook, I have seen, and it's a list that's come up in a few of my groups. So I'll leave a link down below and also link to her video for this. But I just wanted to read it off and give my answers because even though we're both from the same state, we do have different way of looking at certain things on this list. Number one, it's not Pennsylvania, it's PA. Which is true. And I didn't realize this until I was, later on in adult life, that people from Pennsylvania, we just call it PA. We just don't say, I'm from Pennsylvania. You say, I'm from PA. And other states don't do that. My friends from New Jersey don't say, I'm from NJ. And my friend from Florida doesn't say, I'm from FL. It's really a Pennsylvania thing. And it's just, instead of saying Pennsylvania, it's just PA. P-E-Y-A-Y. PA. There's nothing better than a Philly cheesesteak, though whether Pat's or Geno's is superior is an ongoing debate. It is true that there is nothing better than a Philly cheesesteak. It's actually a comfort food for me. As far as Pat's or Geno's, that little debate, that's more of a tourist thing. I find that a lot of people in Pennsylvania, in Philadelphia, myself included, don't actually care for either one of those. I've had cheesesteaks from both of them. Don't have an opinion on who's best. I've got strong opinions on personal things with both of those places, and I don't think either one of their cheesesteaks is really mind-blowing or amazing. It's definitely not worth the drive to me. Anything like that. It's not something that I would go seek out. No offense, but it's the truth. And I think a lot of people in Philadelphia kind of realize that it's basically a tourist trap thing, and everyone has their own preference. And you'll hear people are like, oh, you got to go to Jim's or Steve's or whatever. We all have our preferences. For me personally, I think some of the best cheesesteaks come out of your local mom and pop hoagie shops or delis or pizza places. So I always recommend, if people are like a tourist, wherever you're at, go to the local hoagie shop and get a cheesesteak there and try a few of them, different little shops. I think sometimes those are the best ones. And also, if you're lucky to be able to cook them or have somebody cook them for you. Sometimes the homemade ones are also the best. But cheesesteaks rule. They're good. And if anybody is wondering, I get mine as an American without, which is with American cheese without onions. Although now and then I will put onions on mine. Anyway, even if you live in Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, or another metropolitan area, you know you don't have to drive more than half an hour to find horse and buggies, cows, and moon pies. True, I can get moon pies anywhere. There are a lot of little farmers markets as well as the local grocery stores that sell moon pies. There's both like prepackaged ones, homemade type, farmers market type. So you can get moon pies anywhere. I don't like moon pies, so I don't really have an opinion on them. As far as cows, I live within, I can smell cows. That's how close I am to cows right now. I am a stone's throw, literally, from a whole lot of cows. And then there's another very large cow farm less than 5 minutes from me. I have a neighbor with a horse, so it's quite a mix. And then I'm like 10 minutes from more cow farms and 15 minutes from more farms. So there's a lot around here. As far as horse and buggy though, horse and buggy is typically more used by the Amish. And I do have to drive more than a half hour to get into Amish territory and see people that are utilizing the horse and the buggy. And so that's maybe about 45 minutes to an hour away from where I am. We do, however, in my area have a lot of old order Mennonite, which people mistake for Amish folks because they dress very similar. Almost the same, but the old order Mennonites, they typically use cars, electricity, and that sort of thing. But as far as seeing like real Amish and that horse and buggy style, that's a little bit further out from me. You're proud to live in what is essentially hundreds of miles of rural paradise, bookended by two of the best cities in the country, Philadelphia and Pittsburgh. True, Philadelphia is the best city in the country. Pittsburgh, Steelers, Penguins, Pirates. But Pennsylvania is beautiful. I mean, we have some great metropolitan areas, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, Harrisburg, Scranton. We have, quite a few metro areas, but there is a lot of farmland and rural areas. There's mountains and a lot of natural areas. Unfortunately, Pennsylvania is being built up like a mofo, so how long it's going to stay the way it is, I don't know. But for now, this is essentially true. There is a lot of, rural area in between two big giant cities. You expect to find forests, waterfalls, mountains, caves, and lakes without driving more than an hour. Absolute truth. I am just a few moments from forests. There is a small mountain that people use for skiing less than a half an hour from me, and then I am just about an hour, depending on traffic, from the Pocono Mountains. There are several lakes within a half an hour of me. Lots of forests, plenty of waterfalls, cute little cave areas. There's a place called Crystal Cave that's about an hour from me. So, being in this area is awesome because you experience all of it. Plus, if you want the ocean, there are some New Jersey beaches that are about an hour and a half drive, again, depending on traffic, from where I am. So it's the best of all of it. You get to experience all of it here. I love it. You expect to experience all 4 seasons in almost equal amounts. Truth. And sometimes that is in the same day. And if you live in this area, you know that April this year was pretty much one day of summer, another day of fall, 3 days of winter, then a little bit of spring, 2 days of summer, a blizzard, a day of fall, a couple days of summer, another blizzard, and then spring. Sometimes that actually happens all in one day. I think we had a few days this year where we started out in short sleeves, but by the end of the night, we were having a snowstorm. So this area, you do see a lot of the 4 seasons. Every now and then you do go straight from winter to summer, it feels like, but usually we do get like an equal break of all 4 seasons. And I like it that way. As soon as the weather changes, people around you switch from complaining about it being too cold to being too hot or vice versa. True, but I think that's just true everywhere. So I don't think that's just a PA thing. I think that's just a people thing. The summer humidity is like a wet blanket that will cease its smothering for no man. Truth. Now, when Samantha did this video, she said it's not true because she's from Western PA and she currently lives in Virginia, and she says the humidity and heat in Virginia is way worse. I'm not 100% familiar with Western PA climatology, but I can say for the eastern half of the state, because we have that flow coming off the ocean in the summer, a lot of times it gets pretty nasty humid, especially if you're in the city or very close to the city. It just kind of holds on to that heat and that nasty, disgusting humidity. And there are quite a few days in July and August where you'll walk out and you just feel like you're wet and you can't breathe, and it's gross. I have been down south. I've been to Georgia in the middle of the summer, and it was gross. It was nasty, but it felt like in August in PA. I think what's different is that up in PA, you get breaks from it. So we'll have a heat wave, and we'll have like 5-6 days of horrendous 100-degree, 105-degree temperatures with 100% humidity and dew points up by 80. But then it stops, and you have like a few days break, and then you get a heat wave again. So I think it's not as ever present as it is in the south during the summer sometimes. But it gets pretty freaking nasty. You are newly stunned each autumn by how breathtaking the foliage is whenever it changes colors. Truth. I love fall foliage. I think it's beautiful. Pennsylvania has a lot of natural wooded areas still, and I hope it stays that way. But it's absolutely stunning. I have been to New England in the fall a lot. It actually used to be where my husband and I would go for our anniversary every year. We were married in October, so for years and years and years, we went to Massachusetts, New Hampshire, up in that area. In the fall, and the foliage up there is gorgeous, and honestly I think that Pennsylvania is just about the same. So we have beautiful falls here as well. Every year we repave many of our roads only to find that winter has left them cracked and full of potholes once spring rolls around. Absolute truth. Pennsylvania has utter crap for roads. I don't know what it is, because I have had friends come from out of state that have asked, like, is Pennsylvania poor? Do you not care? So apparently our roads are horrendous compared to other parts of the country. But it's true. Come the middle of winter, anything that was paved, you can't even tell that it had been paved over the summer because it is cracked, it is ripped open, it is crumbling, and we have potholes. Sometimes we have potholes that are like the size of a small car. I've definitely had I don't know anybody that hasn't experienced driving down the road and getting a flat or bent rims or both from a pothole. It's definitely happened to me. It's happened to just about everybody. Our roads, especially coming out of winter into spring when everything starts to contract and expand more, they're awful. When snow is in the forecast, you better get your milk and bread before everyone else does. Truth. I don't think it's as horrendous as down south. My brother had moved to Georgia, and so his telling of what it's like when there's a snowstorm down in Georgia is that it's almost like the apocalypse is coming. But still in Philadelphia, even though that we are used to having giant snowstorms every single winter, people still go running out for that milk, that bread, that egg, so that they can have their milk and egg sandwich. Even when we have a blizzard one day, like this year, we'd have like a pretty hefty snowstorm, but the next day was going to be 80 degrees, so you know it's going to melt away. People just stock up like they're going to be locked away for about 5 weeks. I don't know why. Sorry, lost my spot. Scrapple. Either you love it or hate it. If you don't know what it is, you don't want to find out. It's disgusting. If anybody offers you Scrapple, just say no. It's made out of all the no. Just say no. It's disgusting. I think it's very popular in Philadelphia. It just ain't right. Not today, Satan. You have become so used to absurd laws surrounding the sale of liquor that you don't even think twice about making 2 different stops at the liquor store and the beer distributor to stock up before a party. Getting your alcohol at the grocery store is an unheard of concept. So I did not grow up in a house with alcohol. I do not drink. I don't buy alcohol. It's just not my thing. So I'm kind of disconnected from this concept, but I've always been aware of the fact that you couldn't buy alcohol in a grocery store and that you would have to go to a special store. I don't think that I was totally aware that like a beer distributor and a liquor store were two different things, and that you couldn't buy the same thing in each store. As well as on Sundays for a long time, liquor stores, I believe, were not open on Sundays. Now laws are changing in Pennsylvania, and you're seeing more and more grocery stores that sell beer and wine. For instance, the local Giants and Wegmans, Whole Foods, and Weis, they all sell like craft beers and wines. So things are changing, but it's not like a concept that I'm totally attached to just because it's not part of my personal lifestyle. Hunting season starts out with a bang. The start of hunting season is basically a holiday in PA, with people taking off of work and some schools even canceling classes. This wasn't true for me growing up because I'm from Philadelphia, and it's not hunting season on animals in Philadelphia. It's hunting seasons on human beings all year round in Philly. But I know that I grew up just on the border of Philadelphia, so Bucks County was just over the county line from us. And for them in Bucks County, it was, and I guess still is, a day that they would get off from school. People would take off from work. It was a total holiday for people. And I know that it still is in a lot of parts of Pennsylvania. Get used to hearing yins. Not in my area. I believe that is more very specific towards going towards the like Lancaster area. I know it's heard. Some Dutchy friends of mine that I used to work with in northern suburbs, every now and then they would say it, but I think it's more specific even to western Pennsylvania. So it's not said here. You know, I understand it. Like when people say it, I get it, but it's not a regionalism for this part of Pennsylvania. I'm from Philly, so our word is use, as in, what are you guys doing today? Do you want to come to the mall with me? Do you want some coffee? Do you want some chocolate? What are you doing? That sort of thing. So it's different for each side of the state. The crick will get you wet. So the word crick, that's another thing that is PA, Philly. I'm not sure. It means creek, although to me, for whatever reason in my head, a crick is a very small, tiny stream. A creek is bigger. I don't know. But my dad says crick for everything that's not a river. It's not odd to be invited to a party in a fire hall. So this is like a Pennsylvania thing? So people nobody else goes to fire halls? So parties in fire halls are big here. Your wedding reception, your communion party, your baptism, your confirmation party. You know, those are very, Sweet 16, very popular to have in a fire hall. In Philadelphia, where I'm from, it's also extremely popular. Actually, I think specifically in my neighborhood, it's more popular to have parties in union halls. A lot of the Teamster buildings have their own catering halls attached to them, and people would have their receptions, their 8th grade dances, their communion and confirmation parties in union halls. But yeah, fire halls and everything that's very popular around here. A war is brewing over Wawa and Sheetz. So Wawa and Sheetz are two gas stations that also sell deli stuff. They sell sandwiches, coffees, hot lunches, dinner stuff, whatever. I'm not committed to either one. I've actually never been inside of a Sheetz, so I can't say anything about its quality. In my area, Wawa is king. Wawa was born just, in the Philadelphia area, so there's literally 8,000 Wawas within a 1 mile radius anywhere in Philly. And people love their Wawa. Where I am from, where I live currently, the war is not Wawa and Sheetz, because Sheetz is still, you got to go an hour to get to a Sheetz, I believe. But the war is between, right now, Wawa and Royal Farms. So a company called Royal Farms, which is also a gas station / deli, has started coming into this area and is starting to build more of their little gas station things around here. So people are all like, I love Royal Farms and I love Wawa, and that sort of thing. For me personally, I'm one of those Philly people that couldn't give a flying fig about Wawa at all. I don't think their hoagies are that great. I don't think their coffee is that great. I'd rather get coffee from elsewhere. And actually, I don't even drink coffee anymore. But when I did drink it a lot, I'd rather go to Dunkin' Donuts or to Starbucks. Sorry. I didn't think Wawa coffee was that great. As well as I don't like their hoagies. I don't like a lot of their prepared foods, their hot foods or anything. It's good to go get gas. It's good to go get snacks for the kids every now and then if you're on the road, but I don't care one way or the other. Your elementary school education included at least 3 field trips to Philadelphia, 2 field trips to farms, and at least 5 million field trips to go apple picking. Partially true. I grew up in Philadelphia, so most of our field trips were within the city. We'd go to the Franklin Institute, the Academy of Natural Science, the Art Museum. I think we went to. We went a little bit outside of the city to Pennsbury Manor. I will say that when I was in kindergarten, we were supposed to have a field trip to go to Steyer's Orchard, which is a little bit outside of Philly, to go pick apples, and it rained that day. And I'm almost 40, and I still remember little 5-year-old me waking up all excited to go apple picking, but my mom going, "It's raining, they canceled your field trip." And I cried, and I cried, and I cried. I still remember that. So I've never been on a farmhouse field trip. And then I originally started in public school where we would go on a field trip every year. And then I switched to Catholic school where we did not go on field trips every single year, though we did go have a big 8th grade field trip to Hershey Park. But I feel like I didn't get as many field trips as what I see other kids having today. But yeah, most of ours were in Philly because that's where I'm from. Anyway, I hope you like this. If not, I'm sorry, not really. But I just think it's interesting. If you want to add your own little regionalisms, please feel free to do so or make your own video. It was great talking to you, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.